Good evening, comrades. I am here with Comrade Stone here in Mother Russia, discussing recent headlines from CNN, basically glorifying death camps and slavery. That's right. Literally, CNN is taking the side of North Korean dictatorships going on with all this stuff going on in the Olympics. I'm Rob Dew here with Roger Stone. We are in Austin, Texas right now. Roger's going to be here for a few days. And Roger, what did you think when you saw those? Let's see, let me pull them up right here, the headlines.
Well, CNN, New York Times, glorifying a brutal dictator.
She said they stole the show at the Winter Olympics.
Because they prefer him to Vice President Mike Pence. I mean, this is pathetic. It's sedition is really what it is. And they will make excuses and glorify a brutal dictator and his sister.
Just to hate Trump.
Just to hate on Trump.
That's it.
Yeah.
Let me read you a quote from the Daily Caller reprinted a CNN article. If a diplomatic dance were an event at the Winter Olympics, Kim Jong-un's younger sister would be favored to win the gold. The article read, with a smile, a handshake, and a warm message in South Korea's presidential guest book, Kim Yo-jong has struck a chord just one day into the Pyeongchang Games.
Yeah, I understand she smiles as she orders thousands of people to be put to death.
I mean, so let's just go over some of the way they kill people. They set them up and shoot them with artillery cannons. They have starving dogs rip their not even political opponents. These are people who used to work for Kim Jong-un. He would have them killed this way.
You never know whether he's going to have his own sister killed at any moment.
He killed a band. He didn't like what they were saying. A band of his. It was, and he was the girlfriend.
The music wasn't good, so they killed the whole band.
I mean, CNN has the gall to go and say, "Hey, this is who we're rooting for. This is why you should root for them."
I mean, I think missing in all of this is the fact that the North and South Koreans are actually talking.
Because of Trump.
Only because of the tough talk of Donald Trump. This is a manifestation of the madman theory as first espoused by Richard Nixon and recounted by Henry Kissinger. If they don't respect you, if they don't fear you, they will not negotiate. They understand Trump means business. They realize when he says, I'm drawing a line in the sand, he's not going to tolerate stepping over it, unlike Barack Obama. So this is a manifestation of Trump's leadership, in my opinion.
And this hasn't happened. It didn't happen in Obama's presidency, George Bush. It didn't happen with Bill Clinton, Bush Sr., even Ronald Reagan. There was no North and South Korea coming together. It happened with Donald Trump, whether you like it or not, whether people like it or not. That's how it went.
A number of patriots are upset because the president met with Henry Kissinger. In fact, I happen to know that the president is giving Kissinger a message to relay to the Chinese. The Chinese are working with us on the North Korean problem. Unthinkable under Barack Obama. Now, we still have to deal with their currency manipulation, their lack of human rights, a number of other issues. But right now, Trump is mindful of the fact that the North Koreans have nuclear weapons and they can destroy us. So that kind of takes a precedent. Donald Trump, peacemaker.
I totally agree. And what you see, coming out from those games and then the fallout back here, it's just amazing to see. It's not even CNN too. It's other leftist organizations that are just going, hey, we're going to back the North Koreans now. But the American people see through that. They go, what? We're going to back a brutal dictator that sends starving dogs onto his once political allies?
Well, and also, interestingly enough, the backdrop of all this, the generic Democrats' advantage on the congressional ballot, the generic Republican versus Democrat, has dropped to 6%. It was 17, 18 a month ago. They're in trouble. They're running on we hate Trump. The Republicans are running on jobs and prosperity. Republicans who abandon Trump will be doing so at their own peril. We may actually gain in the 2018 elections.
I think so, and I think also what's going to help is that Trump tax cut, even though Peter Schiff has said that the tax cut is what's causing what's going on in the markets right now. Regular Americans at home are getting maybe $100 per paycheck, $130 a paycheck, $140 extra per paycheck, say every 2 weeks. That they weren't normally getting, and now they're going to get that. And that's every 2 weeks. That's money that they can spend, and no one else can even come close to what they're doing. And so I think that's where Trump is really going to win people over. And
why would you disrespect the communist system where the government pays for everything?
No, Owen Schroyer joining us now. We're both very upset about the prospect of Adam Schiff leaving the Congress.
All right, I have to get real for a second.
Comedians everywhere are upset about this because he's the biggest punchline out there.
I have to be real
Totally
with you
full
guys
of
for a
shit.
second. This
Yeah.
is actually
Like
true.
shit.
I actually want Adam Schiff out because I can't stand it. But Roger makes a great point. I mean, what would we do for comedic material if that piece of Schiff is no longer in government? I mean, think about it. Think about all the jokes right here. Let's go, guys. You've got Schiff hole.
Something
Piece
smells
of
like
Schiff.
Schiff.
It smells like Schiff.
Piece of
Piece
Schiff.
of Schiff.
Schiff for brains.
Schiff for brains.
Schiffer Brands is the best.
If it smells like Schiff, flush it.
Right.
If it looks like Schiff,
You know, in 40
flush
years
it.
in American politics, I've never actually met or seen a more vile,
If you step in
odious
Schiff,
piece of
smear it
Schiff
on the ground.
in my life.
It is true. There has never been a piece of Schiff.
And we want to know about what he was doing at the Standard Hotel in West Hollywood. We really want to know about his big donor who had a black male hooker die of a meth overdose in his home.
It does,
and what Adam knows about that.
We just have questions.
Yeah, it does. I have questions. Actually, I have questions for Eric Swallowswell and Adam Piece of Schiff. You know, what do you guys do at night? It just seems like you guys are in some real creepy stuff.
Don't swallow that. It's
covered in
Schiff.
Schiff. Exactly.
Now, Owen, on the air today, I don't know if you had Jerome Corsi on, but
Yeah,
you
we
were
did,
talking.
we did.
Okay, so you were talking about the plane crash in Russia.
Yes.
What was Jerome Corsi saying today?
So there is a company called Rosatom, and I'm not sure of the spelling, but Rosatom, it's a Russian energy company, and there was a Russian passenger jet that was, well, it's believed it was a bomb or it was hit. Basically, something happened in the middle of the flight. Well, not in the middle of the flight, but after takeoff, when it was reaching flying altitude, something happened to that flight that caused it to crash. The crash landing site has spread over a square meter, which means means that something probably blew it up that caused all the projectiles to go everywhere. If you're familiar with the Flight 800, TWA Flight 800, there's a lot of reminiscence of that. Of course, that happened under President Bill
Well,
Clinton.
let's put this in perspective. In other words, the acquiring company in the Uranium One deal,
Yeah.
their CFO was just
Yes.
tragically killed ahead of being questioned.
Right.
In that whole thing. This is the largest treasonous financial crime in American history. And who are the perps? Mr. Mueller, Mr. Comey, Mr. McCabe, and Mr. Rosenstein.
And so they have the means, the back channels to pull something like this off. Remember a few years ago, I think it was the Russian Prime Minister was killed in a plane crash. And there was some interesting video that people put out, and it sounded like people were getting gunned down. They were still alive.
Well, remember
getting
Putin's
shot.
bodyguard too, and he was driving down the highway, and Putin was supposed to be in the car, and the guy swerved over the last minute and caused a head-on collision with Putin's bodyguard that ended up dying.
Right.
So I think that what you have happening right now, honestly, is the deep state has realized they cannot win in America, so they have to get Russia so out of whack. They have to rustle all of Russia's feathers. You know, they want to. There's an investigation going on in Uranium One right now. Nobody wants to talk about it. It's happening behind the scenes. But there is an investigation going on in Uranium One. So you take out the CFO, well, what does that mean? Everybody, or the CFO who was in charge of all of those transactions, all of the banking and everything like that, who would have been saying, here's the money we got from the Clintons on this date. Here's the money we got from the Clintons on this date. Here was the day we met with the Clintons to discuss funds on this date. So now, he's no longer with us. How convenient for the Clintons, who are now under investigation. A tragic story. So that's why I think there's all these sanctions on Russia. That's why I think the media is attacking Russia. I think that the deep state wants to poke the Russian bear to the point of war. And Trump is trying to play brinksmanship right now. And he's saying, look, Russia's smart enough to know what's going on. Hopefully they can see what I'm doing here and understand I'm protecting American interest. But the deep state is not going to stop attacking Russia. The Syrian moderate rebels that Obama funded and armed, that John McCain meets with regularly, shot down a Russian jet last week, killed the pilot. This week, the 71 passengers die, one of them being the CFO of Rosatom, which was the deal that the Clintons made with Rosatom to make Uranium One happen. So we're here making a joke, here we are with Russia, ha ha ha, ooh, Russian collusion. No, but the seriousness of this is that The deep state is in such desperation right now. They are literally wantonly killing, downing
tying
jets,
up loose ends.
causing terrorist
Tying
attacks.
up loose ends is what it is.
Yeah.
Because anybody out there who has any information, you're basically on a hit list. That's what this plane crash was.
And the mainstream media is absolutely right. There was a major party candidate in bed with Putin. There was a candidate in one of the two major parties,
the Kremlin,
whose top aides were making a fortune.
Senator Mark Warner was meeting with Russia.
That's right, exactly.
You know,
Christopher Steele
but
was
that's
meeting with
okay.
Russia.
Yeah, because he wanted to get information on Christopher
It's funny
Steele.
because
But that's okay when it's the
I haven't
Democrats
heard
doing
of
it.
Mark Warner since the time that he and Robert Corker formed a hedge fund, and then using inside information on the housing market that they gleaned as members of the U.S. Senate made a multi-million-dollar killing.
Which is
That
legal
Mark
to
Warner.
do.
Oh, that's
For
how Nancy
senators.
Pelosi
Right.
is like $93 million in the bank, even though her average annual stipend from the government is less than $100,000 or something. So I don't know.
So I'd like to continue this, but gentlemen, in all honesty, something smells like shit.
Yeah, it does. It does kind of smell
Should
like
we get
shit.
out of here? It kind of smells like Schiff.
I think he
We
might
got to
be.
do something about this.
He
There
might,
might be
I
some-
think he was here just a second
Did
ago.
somebody
Did
step
somebody
in
step
Schiff?
in Schiff?
Who stepped in
jeez.
Schiff? Oh my
It's
gosh, we
everywhere.
got to clear it out. It smells like Schiff in here.
All right,
Somebody,
guys.
don't swallow all that. It smells like Schiff.
So we had Roger Stone, Owen Schroyer, Rob Dew for Infowars.com.
Roger
Obviously,
Stone's here all week.
Yeah, he's going to be here all week in studio, going over the latest. Because here's the thing: Roger's been breaking stories that are months away from breaking in the mainstream media. Over and over again, he keeps breaking stories. So that is why Roger's come to the Infowar and joined our team, which is great. And that's why we're in the Russian house, which is here in Austin, Texas, because we want to make a joke about how crazy this Russian collusion nonsense is. And so we have to make jokes on it because it does. They're Schiffhead jokes, and they're for total Schiffheads. Anybody who believes in this stuff is a total Schiffhead. What's that?
So you got to also make sure you support us at Infowar.com. Anchoring just came out last week. It's already receiving tons of 5-star reviews. Definitely check that out. And also the His and Hers combo pack. Get that right
Let's
now
get
in time
Stone back
for
over here.
Valentine's Day.
Talk about Immune Wall.
Immune Wall. Roger Stone was talking about this at dinner.
You have a quote about Immune Wall.
I must say that I've used a number of the Infowars products, but on my trip to the United Kingdom, I was plagued by a bad cough, constant post-nasal drip, itchy, eyes, watery eyes, itchy throat. It was terrible. And then, frankly, I knocked back some Immune Wall. Stuff really works, and the price is right. Go to the Infowars store now. It's what we call a 360 win. Really among the best products I've found.
I was having the same issues with a cough and stuffy nose and all that, and I was basically shooting the silver bullet up my nose, and also doing it through a nebulizer.
Yeah,
breathing
my
it in.
desk is right next
It
to
works.
yours, and I was
Oh, yeah.
watching you all week.
You're like, are you vaping?
Yeah, you've got this little
main
thing you're
line.
on it.
Next thing
online.
you
I had a problem too. And my office, I'm covering news a lot, so constantly I'm getting this wave of Schiff. This Schiff constantly comes across my desk, and I'm smelling Schiff all day. It's like, what is this Schiff I'm smelling? And I just took some Immune Wall, and it just no longer had to deal with any of that Schiff.
Adam, what are you doing at the West Hollywood Hotel? What are you doing at the Standard in West Hollywood? The people want to know.
People want to know, and right now it does smell like Schiff, Mr. Schiff. So, with that, I guess we're going to sign off for now. From the Russia house in Mother Russia, go to Infowars.com and get our product.
Infowars.com
Support us.
/show all the time for the free streams.
Gloriously.
Cheers, merry comrades.
Start to me.